my puppies. Today, I'm gonna tell you about how I fell for a gorgeous woman who turned out to be running a relationship museum in her apartment, complete with guided tours and a dinner party where I became the newest exhibit, while 6 ex-boyfriends watched me crash and burn in real time. I'm Nick, the Stallion, Navarro, but my friends call me Stallion. One day, I might tell you why, if you can handle it. Strap in, puppies. This ride is about to crash beautifully. Picture this. I'm at this trendy coffee shop in Brickhill, minding my own business, when this absolute vision walks in. Victoria, dark hair that cascades in perfect waves, curves that command attention, and the kind of confident presence that makes little Stolly wake up from his afternoon nap even before noon. She is wearing this professional outfit that screams success, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who knows exactly how stunning she is. When she orders her latte, her voice has this cultured accent that makes even Captain Cockblock would shut up and listen. Uncle Stolly here does not hesitate. I approach with my legendary charm offensive in full display. Excuse me, I could not help but notice you have incredible taste in coffee shops. She turns around with this smile that could power half of Miami. And you have incredible taste in pickup lines. Very smooth, my puppies. She was playing along. This was divine invitation to legendary shenanigans. I'm Nick, but my friends call me Stolly. Victoria. And what makes you think we are going to be friends? The way she said it, with that playful challenge in her eyes, had me completely hooked. We ended up talking for 2 hours straight. She was a marketing executive, well-traveled, cultured, and had this way of making me feel like I was the most interesting person she had ever met. When I asked for her number, she did not even hesitate. I would like that very much, Stolly. The first date was absolutely perfect. Dinner at this upscale place in South Beach, conversation that flowed like expensive wine, and chemistry that had enough voltage to light up all of Wynwood. Victoria was sophisticated, funny, and had stories about traveling through Europe that made me feel like I was dating a movie star. The only minor detail that seemed a bit off was when her phone rang during dessert. Sorry, I have to take this. It is Marcus. She stepped away for 5 minutes, came back all smiles, and explained that Marcus was just a really good friend checking in. No big deal, right? 2 days later, we had our second date. This time at her place, a gorgeous apartment in Coral Gables that looked like something out of a magazine. Everything was perfectly arranged, tasteful art on the walls, and the kind of furniture that costs more than most people's cars. That is when I started noticing the photos. There were pictures everywhere, but not just regular family photos. These were professional quality couple shots, Victoria with different guys in romantic poses, beach photos, vacation shots, formal dinner pictures, at least 6 different men. You have a lot of close friends, I commented, trying to sound casual. Oh, those. Yes, I believe in maintaining good relationships with people who have been important in my life. I think it speaks well of someone's character, do not you? She said it so confidently that I immediately felt stupid for even questioning it. Of course, a sophisticated woman like Victoria would have lots of friends. We were settling in for what I hoped would be some epic moves when her phone rang again. Sorry, it is Jake. He is going through a tough time. Another 5-minute call. Then 20 minutes later, Antonio called. Then someone named David. My puppies. By the end of the evening, Victoria had taken 4 different calls from 4 different guys, all of whom seemed to have urgent emotional needs that required her immediate attention. But she was apologetic about it, and the kisses she gave me between calls were worth waiting for. Little Stolly was still very optimistic about where this was heading. The third date was when things got weird. We are having lunch at this cafe in Coconut Grove when her phone rings. This time, she hands it to me. It is for you. I stare at the phone like it is a bomb. For me? Who knows I am with you? Just answer it, honey. I take the phone, completely confused. Hello? Hey, is this Nick? Yeah, who is this? This is Marcus. Look, man, I do not know you, but you seem like a decent guy, so I am going to give you some advice. You need to be very careful with Victoria. My first instinct was to hang up, but something in his voice made me listen. What are you talking about? She does this with every guy she dates. You are not her boyfriend. You are her next project. She collects relationships like trophies, keeps all of us around, and then when she gets bored, she moves on to the next guy while keeping you in the collection. Do not get me wrong, she treats us incredibly well. Expensive dinners, weekend trips, she even helped me get my promotion at work. But there is always a price. I looked over at Victoria, who was calmly sipping her coffee, and watching me with this amused expression. Dude, I do not know what your deal is, but it sounds like you are just mad that she upgraded to premium quality material. Marcus laughed. Okay, here's what is going to happen next. She is going to invite you to her place for a special dinner. She will want you to meet all of us at the same time. When that happens, remember this conversation. Listen here. Just because you could not handle a sophisticated woman does not mean Uncle Stolly cannot. Maybe you should focus on finding your own TV goddess instead of trying to sabotage mine. Alright, man. I tried to warn you. Good luck. I handed the phone back to Victoria, who was smiling like nothing weird had just happened. What did Marcus want? Just some jealous ex trying to cause trouble. Nothing I cannot handle. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm so glad you are not the type to get intimidated by other men's insecurity. My puppies, that comment made me feel like Superman. Victoria was not just gorgeous, she was testing my confidence, and I was passing with flying colors. Over the next 2 weeks, things got more intense. Victoria and I were seeing each other almost every day, but the phone calls never stopped. If anything, they increased. Marcus, Jake, Antonio, David, and now I was hearing names like Ricardo and Christopher. But here is the thing. Victoria never hid these calls from me. She would answer right in front of me, have these intimate conversations about feelings and relationships and personal problems, then hang up and act like it was the most normal thing in the world. You are very secure in yourself, she told me after a particularly long call with Jake. Most men get jealous. Again, I felt like I was winning some kind of test. Victoria was clearly a high-quality woman who attracted a lot of male attention, but she had chosen me. The fact that other guys still called her just proved how desirable she was. The breaking point came when she invited me over for what she called a special evening. I arrived at her place expecting romance, maybe some epic moves, definitely some quality time. Instead, Victoria had completely redecorated her living room. The photos I had noticed before were now organized like a museum exhibit. There were sections dedicated to different time periods, each with multiple pictures of Victoria with the same guy. Beach vacation corner with Marcus. Formal dinner section with Jake. Holiday photos with Antonio. What is all this? Oh, I thought it was time to properly introduce you to my journey. These represent all the meaningful relationships that have shaped who I am today. She started giving me a guided tour like I was visiting the Louvre. This is my time with Marcus. We spent 6 months exploring South America together. Beautiful relationship, very spiritual. And over here is my period with Jake. He taught me so much about wine and culture. We went to Napa Valley 4 times. My puppies, I was standing in a relationship museum, and Victoria was the curator proudly showing off her collection. But it got worse. And this, she said, leading me to a bookshelf, is where I keep the memory albums. She pulled out a thick photo album labeled My Beautiful Journey. Volume 3. Volume 3? Oh yes, I'm very thorough about documenting my experiences. Each relationship gets its own album. Marcus has 2 volumes. We had a lot of adventures. She opened the album and started flipping through professionally printed photos of her and Marcus in various romantic locations. Sunset dinners, couples massages, scenic overlooks, bedroom selfies that made little Stallion immediately file for early retirement. And I keep in touch with everyone because I believe love should be eternal, even when the romantic part ends. Do not you think that is beautiful? Pause for you to picture volume 3 of someone else's love story. By the way, if you are enjoying this story, hit that like button. It really helps me keep these coming. I was standing in what could only be described as the Smithsonian of failed relationships, and Victoria was talking about love being eternal while showing me intimate photos of her with other men. Victoria, this is a lot. Oh, I know it might seem overwhelming at first, but you will get used to it. Actually, I have wonderful news. She clapped her hands together like she had just thought of the perfect surprise. I'm hosting a dinner party this Saturday. All my favorite people will be there, and I want you to meet everyone properly. It is going to be amazing. Everyone meaning Marcus, Jake, Antonio, David, Ricardo, and Christopher. Oh, and you, of course. It will be like a reunion of all the men who have meant something special to me. My brain was trying to process what she had just said. A dinner party with 6 ex-boyfriends. And me. You want me to have dinner with all your ex-boyfriends? They are not exes, silly. They are my journey partners. And now you are part of that journey too. The way she said it, with such genuine enthusiasm, made me realize that Victoria truly believed this was normal. In her mind, she was not collecting men. She was building some kind of emotional support network that happened to consist entirely of guys she had been romantic with. I do not know if that is such a good idea. Oh, do not be nervous. They are all wonderful people, and I know you will get along perfectly. She grabbed her phone and started typing. I'm texting everyone now. Saturday at 7. This is going to be perfect. My puppies, I should have thanked Victoria for a lovely time, wished her well with her relationship museum, and headed straight to the nearest bar to drink away the memory of this conversation. But of course, Uncle Stolly had to get screwed. The competitive part of my brain kicked in. Marcus had warned me about exactly this scenario, and I had dismissed him as a jealous ex. Now I had the chance to prove that I was different, that I could handle whatever weird situation Victoria created. You know what? That sounds interesting. I would love to meet them. Victoria squealed with delight and threw her arms around me. I knew you were special. This is going to be the best dinner party ever. Saturday arrived faster than I wanted it to. I spent the day trying to psyche myself up for what was either going to be the most awkward dinner in history, or some kind of weird relationship ritual that only sophisticated people like Victoria understood. I arrived at her apartment at exactly 7 o'clock, wearing my best shirt and carrying a bottle of wine that cost more than my monthly cable bill. I was determined to show these guys that Victoria had definitely upgraded her taste in men. Victoria answered the door looking absolutely stunning in a black dress that could make a priest reconsider his vows. But there was something different about her energy. She seemed excited in a way that made me slightly uncomfortable. "Stallion, you look handsome. Come in, everyone is already here." I walked into the living room and found myself face to face with 6 guys who all looked like they had stepped out of a catalog. Marcus was tall and athletic with this rugged outdoorsy look. Jake had the sophisticated intellectual vibe going on. Antonio looked like he moonlighted as a model. David, Ricardo, and Christopher were all clearly successful, well-dressed, and confident. And they were all looking at me with expressions that ranged from curiosity to pity. "Everyone, this is Nick." Victoria made introductions like we were at a networking event. Each guy shook my hand politely, but I could see something in their eyes, a knowledge, like they were all sharing some inside joke that I was not part of yet. We sat down for dinner at Victoria's dining room table, which she had expanded to accommodate 8 people. I found myself sitting between Ricardo and Christopher, with Victoria at the head of the table like she was hosting a board meeting. I thought it would be fun if we all shared our favorite memories, Victoria announced as she served the appetizers. That way, Nick can really get to know everyone. Marcus caught my eye across the table and gave me this look that clearly said, "I tried to warn you." Victoria started with stories about her time with each guy: the hiking trip to Patagonia with Marcus, the wine tasting tour through Tuscany with Jake, the art galleries of Barcelona with Antonio. She was recounting these memories like she was reviewing her greatest hits album, and every guy at the table was nodding along like this was completely normal. And Ricardo, Victoria continued, introduced me to the most amazing Cuban restaurant in Little Havana. We must have gone there so many times. That is when she turned to me with this expectant expression. "So Nick, what has been your favorite experience so far?" 6 pairs of eyes turned toward me, waiting for my answer. I felt like I was being interviewed for a position I did not understand. "Well, we have not been dating very long, but that first conversation at the coffee shop was pretty special." "Oh, that is so sweet," Victoria beamed. "I remember thinking you had such interesting energy, very different from everyone else." She gestured around the table like she was comparing me to a product lineup. The evening continued with more storytelling, more comparisons, and more moments where I felt like I was being evaluated against the Victoria ex-boyfriend Hall of Fame. These guys all seemed to genuinely like each other, which somehow made the whole situation even weirder. During dessert, Victoria made an announcement that finally broke my brain. "I have something exciting to share with everyone. I'm starting a new photo project, a coffee table book about modern love and how relationships can evolve into lasting friendships." She pulled out a professional camera. "I want to get a group photo of all of us together. It will be the centerpiece of the whole book." Marcus started laughing, but not in a mean way. "Victoria, honey, you cannot turn Nick into a photo exhibit on his first dinner party." "Why not? He is part of the family now." That is when it hit me like a freight train made of pure realization. I was not Victoria's boyfriend. I was not even her newest romantic interest. I was her latest acquisition. She collected relationships the way some people collect stamps, and maintained her collection through regular phone calls, dinner parties, and photo albums. The guys around this table were not exes. They were previous exhibits who had been permanently inducted into the Victoria Museum of Romantic Experiences. And now she wanted to add me to the display case. "Actually," I said, standing up so fast I nearly knocked over my chair, "I just remembered I have an urgent dog grooming emergency to handle." Everyone stared at me. "You do not have a dog," Victoria said, looking confused. "It is my neighbor's dog. Very urgent. Emergency grooming situation that requires immediate attention." Marcus was trying not to laugh. Jake was nodding like he understood completely. Victoria looked disappointed, but not particularly surprised. "Will you call me later?" she asked as I headed for the door. "Absolutely," I lied, already planning to block her number before I reached the elevator, which I completely forgot to do because my brain had been scrambled like Sunday morning eggs. As I waited for the elevator, I could hear Victoria explaining to the group that some people just are not ready for evolved relationship dynamics, but not to worry because she was sure I would come around eventually. The next morning, my phone had 17 missed calls from Victoria and text messages from 3 different ex-boyfriends. Marcus had sent, "Told you so," but no hard feelings. "Want to grab a beer and swap war stories?" Jake texted, "She means well, but you made the right choice." That dinner party was my breaking point too. And Christopher wrote, "I have made peace with being a permanent display. You clearly have better survival instincts. Drinks are on me next weekend." My puppies, I learned that some TV goddesses come with more baggage than a 5-star hotel, and sometimes that baggage includes a full roster of previous guests who never actually checked out. That is the story, my puppies. Another glorious disaster that taught me the difference between someone who values relationships and someone who collects them like trophies. Turns out, when a woman wants to introduce you to all her exes at once, it is not because she is secure and evolved. It is because she is building a museum, and you are about to become the newest exhibit. Stallion never backs down, unless it involves becoming a permanent display in someone else's relationship museum. This is not even the craziest thing that happened to me. So stick around, subscribe, hit the like, and I will tell you the rest. And hey, got a story you want me to read as Stallion himself? Drop it in the comments. Until the next embarrassment, Nick the Stallion Navarro.